Welcome to another episode of the Flashback Cartoon Hour. I'm your loving bald host with the most, Nick, Nightcrawling Lascola. And coming back to the pod is my very special goon, Shawn. Say hi, Shawn.
What's up, party people?
And today we have the pleasure of going over the animated series X-Men Evolution. And Shawn, this was a personal pick by you. Is there anything you want to tell the listeners about like what X-Men Evolution is and what this means to you? How did you come across it? And because I know I came across it the same way. We grew up together and watched it all together on WB and stuff. But what is this show to you?
So basically for me, I don't know, man. Like, I just remember growing up and there wasn't too many X-Men shows. The X-Men original cartoon was basically ending up, so we didn't really have much of an X-Men show. But when this was coming on as a kid, where it was basically a high school setting and everything like that, and we were a little bit younger,
it was cool to us because you want to be older, you're like, oh man, I want to be in high school, and two, I want superpowers in high school. It was just perfect. It hit us at the perfect time, and it worked. Teen version of this team, because originally the X-Men were teens. The original team was a teen team. It was, Cyclops, Angel, Beast, Jean Grey, and Iceman.
Yep.
But they were teenagers when they did it. So it was cool that they brought it back. They didn't use exactly the same characters, and we'll go into that in a little bit. But let's begin with the series. X-Men Evolution is an American animated television series based on the superhero series X-Men, published by Marvel Comics. Taking inspiration from the early issues of the original comics, the series portrays the X-Men as teenagers, like we said, rather than adults, following their struggle to control their mutant powers as they face various threats. The series ran for a total of 4 seasons, comprising 52 episodes in total, from November 4th, the year 2000 to October 25th, 2003 on Kids WB, making it the third longest running Marvel Comics animated series at that time, behind Fox Kids' X-Men the Animated Series and Spider-Man the Animated Series. Each episode had an average runtime of about 20 to 22 minutes long.
So the series was created by Marty Eisenberg, Robert and Skirt, and David Wise, who has also have written scripts for series such as Batman animated series, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the 87 series, Transformers, Ben 10, Beast Wars, Gargoyles, G.I. Joe, Spider-Man the animated series, and just the one that we just covered, Godzilla the series.
Yeah, they even did Godzilla the series, guys. We just covered it, me and Shawn together. Go check that out. A Flashback Cartoon Hour on all podcast platforms. But yeah, no, it was crazy. Look at that list. That is a big list. No wonder why this show did so fucking good.
This guy literally did it all.
Yeah, literally.
So, but actually, it was kind of crazy because it was produced in the United States, where the voice recording was done in Canada, actually. But the show was ultimately animated in Japan and South Korea. The series was distributed by Warner Brothers Television Distribution during its original run is currently distributed by Disney Platform Distribution in the United States.
Yeah, that's wild that they did so much. They had the Canadian voice actors. It's an American produced show, but also just animated out in in Asia.
Yeah, exactly.
It's wild.
Yeah, no.
It's a group effort, a planetary group effort
exactly
to bring this team to life. So why don't we get into the we'll talk about the main teams and their voice actors a little bit, I figured. And Shawn, why don't you go into the big bald man himself?
So we got Professor Charles Xavier.
Time, Alex. Your powers will emerge on their own. And if you'll allow, we will be there to help you along the way. All of us. Together. Unified. Because we are the X-Men.
Literally, he is basically the head guy, runs the school.
Head honcho.
He is the telepathic founder and pacifist leader of the X-Men. Basically, he likes to solve things out peacefully if he can. Nicknamed Professor X by his students, he remains somewhat secretive to protect the young mutants in his care, although he often emphasizes the importance of keeping their powers hidden from the rest of the world. Xavier remains hopeful that mutants and humans can one day coexist peacefully. And then, so he was actually voiced by David Kane, and he has done quite a bit of himself. He has done General Hawk in G.I. Joe, Megatron from Beast Wars, Sudan Tendu in Rama and a Half, Draconis on Exo Squad, and Raccoon in the Ocean dub of Dragon Ball Z.
Well, just wait, listeners. When you find out just how much this Ocean cast does these characters of DBZ and X-Men, it's honestly funny. But I'll go into the next guy, the leader, Scott Summers, aka Cyclops, voiced by Kirby Morrow.
You want a raw tough guy? Then take it raw!
He is the disciplined and responsible field leader of the X-Men. His eyes constantly emit powerful energy beams known as optic blast, which can only be controlled by his ruby quartz glasses and visor. He's a cool character. He's kind of like preppy, popular boy, like, you know, goody two shoes. He's got a little bit of a rebellious streak. He'll break a rule here or there, but you know what I mean? Him being like he's got the really nice car and, you know, he's dating Jean or trying to date the very popular girl. He's, they didn't do as much as a Boy Scout in this series, which we were talking about earlier, and I think really worked well for him.
Yeah, it was actually pretty surprising because I got to admit, in the comics, he bugs me as the leader.
Oh, dude, you know what I mean? Especially when you find out the history now, and once the Phoenix Force took him over, and he kind of went psycho and started being a villain himself. This was cool. It was like Cyclops, but a little rebellious. Kirby Morrow has also voiced Troa Barton in Gundam Wing, Michelangelo for the live-action series Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation, Redline on NASCAR Racing, and as Goku in the Ocean dub of Dragon Ball Z.
So next up, we got Jean Grey, who we were just talking about. She is voiced by Venus Terzo.
Hi, you must be new here. Huh? I'm Jean Grey.
She's just a popular girl with some powerful powers, just like Xavier X. She's got telepathic and telekinesis ability. Mm-hmm. Venus Terzo has also voiced Black Arachnia in Beast Wars, female Ranma in Ranma and a Half, Laserette and Sky Surfer Strike Force, and Dr. Elsa Schwartz on the live-action DC series Arrow.
Yeah. She's like the girl next door. Just the really preppy, popular, pretty, but also kind and caring, just a big heart, you know. She can have her little temper tantrums and mood swings from time to time, and they kind of tease a little bit of the Phoenix, but one thing I really like about this series is that they don't go into the Phoenix in this series. And it's just kind of nice to have something like take a break from that for a while, you know. Let's just get to know Marvel Girl. Well, that's her code name. Marvel Girl. So let's just get to know her for a while. And that's cool. Next we have Evan Daniels, aka Spike, voiced by Neil Dennis.
Hey, it's no big deal. I got it under control.
He is Ororo's playful and stubborn nephew and the youngest member of the X-Men. He has the ability to project bone-like protrusions from his skin. So like he could like pop a bunch, almost like a porcupine, but they're all like bone looking type stuff. He's cool. They created him for this series. He wasn't on the X-Men before in the comics. And I don't know. There was a girl, like I was telling you, Shawn, there was a girl in the comics and her name was Marrow. And I used to have these comics from way back in the day. I bet if I went in my box, I could find it. And she kind of had a very similar thing. Even like her mutation starts going a little bit more, just like Spike's does when he like loses control and has to go live with the Morlocks. And we'll go into that. Neil Dennis, while not having many voice acting roles other than additional voices for 40 episodes on RoboCop Alpha Commando, he has starred in such live action series as Michael Daniels in the TV movie Max Q, Todd Erickson on Goosebumps, and Jake in the series Poltergeist: The Legacy. Oh, you get the man, the myth, the legend.
Oh, damn. All right. Next up, we got probably the most popular like X-Men of everybody. We got Wolverine.
Oh, bow, bow.
He's voiced by Scott McNeil.
Came back here because I smelled trouble brewing. Of course, maybe it was just Stink Boy there.
Wolverine is basically the cranky but lovable member of the X-Men and the strict instructor in charge of the Young Mutants, which I thought was pretty cool that he took on more of a teacher role basically.
Yeah.
And but basically he his abilities, he's got basically heightened senses, a regenerative healing factor, an indestructible adamantium skeleton with tractable claw hands.
Yeah, he was cool. He was in charge of the combat and survival training. And at first it was like, how do I feel about this? Because we should say that like, and what the next person we'll go into is also, but like Wolverine and Storm are significantly older than everybody else. So, you know, like Scott's in high school, Jean's in high school, Kitty and Kurt, they're all in high school. But Wolverine and Storm are like the adults. They're just flat out adults. They're, you know, mature. They got their shit together and they're just significantly older. And the fact that they have that teacher role opposed to like in the comics where I guess they're, you know, Storm takes over as leader. So I guess that's a teaching role.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, when they first came in, you don't picture that right away. But I grew up reading the comics where Wolverine and Storm first came in, moreover for when they took over as leaders.
What I thought was actually pretty cool about this show, what I noticed is that each leadership role has an age difference.
Mm-hmm.
So basically you have the teachers, Logan and Storm, they're older than Jean Grey.
Mm-hmm.
And Scott,
mm-hmm.
but that Scott and Jean are
like,
older than just all the
they're
other
like
guys.
The CITs.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like it's just passing it right down.
They're counselors in training, you know what I mean? And they're just waiting for it to
you know?
Yeah.
I thought it was a cool observation.
Does that make Patty Professor X? Okay. Why don't you go into some of the cool fucking shit that Scott McNeil has? Well, he might be the most prolific voice actor on the series.
Yeah, I mean the list just goes on and on and on. So basically, Scott McNeil, he has done Deadeye Duck and Bucky O'Hare in the Toad Wars.
Fucking love that show. Love it, love it. We got an episode coming out soon, guys. So keep an ear out.
Next, we got Flipshot and Captain Zang in the New Adventures of the He-Man.
Mm-hmm.
We got General Slaughter and Battletoads.
Mm-hmm.
Zula and Conan in The Adventure. Mac Hopper in The Adventures of the Sonic and the Hedgehogs. Dr. Wily and Mega Man, 1994.
Mm-hmm.
Duo Maxwell and Mobile Suit Gundam Wing.
Like my favorite character on that show, too.
Is it?
Oh, yeah. He's got such a distinct voice. And like his duo in that show is just really cool. And his Gundam has like a Reaper sight that fucking, come on.
And then going back to what you were talking about earlier about with the shared Dragon Ball Z.
Like everybody.
Yup, everybody. He did Piccolo, Majin Buu, and Android 16 in the Ocean dub of Dragon Ball Z.
And a bunch of I didn't write it down, but I did notice that a bunch of these guys also was in a show called Ninjago. And that's after our time.
Wait, the Lego Ninjago?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. I never got too into it, but I guess most of these guys also voice like all the main characters in that show.
Low-key, actually, when I was sleeping, when I was watching on Netflix, Lego Ninjago was actually one of the
Bro, it's got its fans. It's got its fans. People that like the show love the show. I don't shit on it.
It's a pretty good show.
So next we got Aurora Monroe, aka Storm, voiced by Kirsten Williamson.
You want my powers, Hungan? Here's more than you can handle!
She is Evan's aunt and a wise mentor to the X-Men who can harness the forces of nature and manipulate the weather. The only other real role that we found of Kristen is as Tammy in the 2006 film RV. I literally couldn't find anything about this woman. I've checked numerous different sites and just couldn't find anything other than they all pointed to the RV film.
I don't even remember. Wait, what's
that?
It
was like Robin Williams got an RV with his kids and stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I gotcha. I haven't seen that one. That's all. So next, actually, we got possibly my favorite character out of the bunch. It's Kurt Wagner. He's Nightcrawler. He's voiced by Brad Swale.
The name's Nightcrawler, and at least I don't reek like unwashed lederhosen.
He's the blue furry prankster of the X-Men with the ability to teleport. He is Mystique's actually biological son and Rogue's foster brother. Kurt develops a close relationship with Kitty, and his penchant for excess goofiness initially clashes with Scott's rule-abiding leadership. He is insecure about his appearance, given his holographic image inducer that allows him to blend into school. Though he does actually come to embrace his blue furry self, and over the course of the series, Brad Swale has also voiced for Amaru Ray in Mobile Suit Gundam.
It's Amuro, but I mean it's Japanese. I don't blame you for
Amuro. Amuro Ray. So we got Amuro Ray in Mobile Suit Gundam. We got Derkray Elsman in Mobile Suit Gundam Seed. Mouse in Ramla and a Half. Quattro winner in Mobile Suit Gundam Wing. We got Harry Champ in Zoid's New Century as Adult Gohan, and he was also known as Adult Gohan in the Ocean dub of Dragon Ball Z.
That's like basically all the main characters right there. Like that's Dragon Ball Z right there. But wait, there's more. So next we have Rogue, voiced by Megan Black.
Mystique had me pretty mixed up. Her mind's a tortured mess, but I saw enough to know that you're not my enemy.
She is a sullen and reclusive goth girl who can absorb the life force, attributes, memories, and powers of anyone through physical touch. She is Mystique's adoptive daughter and Kurt's foster sister. Rogue is initially tricked into joining the Brotherhood of Mutants before defecting to the X-Men. And there is a lot of flip-flopping between characters between the Brotherhood and the X-Men. I will say at first the goth Rogue thing, I didn't know how I felt about her. Goth was never something that was real big for me, but like rewatching the show, she's got a pretty sweet heart. She's just this whole like she's a bad girl, then she's a good girl, and then she's rebellious, and she kind of does what she wants. They repeat it with a few different characters, and it gets a little stale. But Megan Black also voiced Atlanta on Clash of the Titans, Kat Diosdade in Edgemont. Please forgive me if I fucked that up. And as Kat in the animated movie Max Steel, Forces of Nature. Again, I do like Rogue, and the one thing I will say about this is what I do like about Rogue, opposed to those, was that when you look at Rogue, especially with X-Men 97 and the original X-Men the animated series, and even in the comics, Rogue always has the powers of Miss Marvel. So she's got the super strength, she can fly up in the air, and this is more like the movie version of Rogue, where like she didn't touch Captain Marvel yet. So it's really like she's got to figure out the whole like, I'm going to touch you, get this power, and then use it for a brief second and kind of use that. And it makes for like a cool on the spur of the moment kind of rogue.
Mm-hmm. So next up, we got Kitty Pryde, Shadowcat. She is voiced by Maggie Blue O'Hara.
Yuck, blob, I totally need a shower now.
And she is basically your typical preppy girl, very cheerful valley girl. But she can actually turn intangible. She could go through walls, go through people, makes her pretty hard to catch. She is the second youngest of the member of the X-Men and develops a close friendship with Kurt, who we were just talking about. Maggie has also voiced Mai Koji in Samurai Troopers Gaiden, Madison Taylor in Card Captor Sakura, Holly in Monster Ranchers, Mary Bates in Mary Kate and Ashley's In Action, and Bulma in the Ocean dub of Dragon Ball Z.
I told you there was more. I like Kitty. I like Kitty because Kitty, I feel like, was what Jubilee wanted to be in the original series, which is funny because in the comics, Kitty was the first one. They brought her in when she was 13. She was the young point of view for the readers, and for the people on the show, she was the young point of view. It was it's just cool and a little bit less annoying than Jubilee was. They brought Jubilee into the series, but they quickly wrote her out. After all the explosions and stuff, you find out a couple of the students left in Jubilee who had been on the show a little bit, ended up being one of the students that left. The parents took her home. And I was like, oh no.
I kind of like Jubilee. Jubilee wasn't that bad.
No, you know what? Okay. She was a lot better in the X-Men 97. I'll say that much. Much less annoying. She it was kind of the same thing as throughout this show. She grew up.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So she matured.
She matured. And it shows in the new X-Men 97 because they bring in another new student and she's kind of like, hey, I remember when I was you. And that was cool. But bringing it back to Kitty, I'm a big fan of her character.
Oh, absolutely. Both in this show and also in the movies. She's just a kick-ass character.
Yep. Okay, so next we have Hank McCoy, a.k.a. Beast, voiced by Michael Kopsa.
But from here on in, I'm not just Mr. McCoy. You can call me Beast.
He is a mild-mannered intellectual with a repressed, feral, alternative mutant personality. He initially works as a gym coach and chemistry teacher at Bayville High before his latent transformation forces him to retire and join the X-Men as a mentor in the second season. Michael Kopsa has also voiced Shar Aznable in Mobile Suit Gundam, Laserman and Pharaoh Man in Mega Man NT Warrior, Roger Baxter in Littlest Pet Shop, and as Giran and Yakon in the Ocean dub of Dragon Ball Z. I don't know if you remember who those guys are, Sean. Yakon was one of Bobbity's guys. He was the green dude that ate up all the Super Saiyan energy. Do you remember that during the Majin Buu saga?
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I do remember that actually.
Yeah, they had to fight through the floors. They got to Deborah and then they had to fight Majin Buu and all that. Yeah. So he was one of the bad guys that was just Bobbity's underling. Jesus.
We're butchering this all today.
Oh my God. Future Nick, good luck. All right, so I figured next we can go a little bit into the season. We'll break down what each season's about before me and Sean get into what our personal recommendations are for you guys, the listeners.
So the first season introduced the core characters of the series, the basically the team founded by Professor Xavier and competes with Mystique to recruit young mutants and with newly discovered powers to their cause. Their ranks grow over the course of the season, ultimately include Wolverine and Storm as teachers, Cyclops, Jean Grey, Nightcrawler, Shadowcat, Spike, and Rogue as the students. Although Rogue initially is manipulated to join Mystique's Brotherhood of Bayville, the Brotherhood soon includes the teen misfits of Avalanche, Quicksilver, Toad, and the Blob.
Yes. So season 1 was cool. It was kind of like a we gather the team kind of season. It has that first season awkwardness. We were talking about it earlier, Shawn. It was like, I'm going to collect these guys, you collect those guys, and we're going to flip through a couple of them. You get that one, I get this one, you get that one, I get this one. And at the end, there's like a big fight between the two of them, between both teams. And we'll go into that in a little bit. Season 2 focuses on the continuing conflict between X-Men, Magneto, and Mystique. Beast, like we said, joins the X-Men as a teacher and as a cohort of the New Mutants, and which are added to the ranks of the X-Men. This is including Iceman, Magma, Jubilee, Cannonball, Berserker, Multiple, Sunspot, Wolfsbane, and Boom Boom, who soon leaves the team and becomes like a neutral character. She lives with the Brotherhood for a little while, but then once Scarlet Witch gets introduced and she like shows up at the house, she kind of gets like the boot, you know what I mean? They're like, oh, we want the more powerful mutant, and Boom Boom's like, all right, fuck you, fuck them, fuck the X-Men, I'm out. And then eventually, makes amends and then goes back to the X-Men.
So then season 3 is actually when things kind of take a turn. So basically there's rise of tension and hostilities between mutants and humans. The X-Men tend to rebuild their normal lives in Bayville after they're being exposed. And they continue to use their powers for good, though they face many public scrutiny and discrimination over the other students at the school. The team now must also deal with Magneto's new team, the Acolytes, which consist of Sabretooth, Gambit, Pyro, and Colossus, and while also dealing with Mystique, who soon adds the Scarlet Witch to the Brotherhood team.
And Scarlet Witch, her big thing is she wants to hunt down her father. So she wants to hunt down and punish her father, and she's going to go with whatever team's going to help her really make that goal come into fruition. And we were just watching a couple of these episodes. The tone just really switches in season 3. Everything's ramped up. Everything's more serious. Everything's more somber, kind of dark and grittier. Humans are now aware of mutants and the teams and everything after the finale of season 2. And our main crew goes to high school, and now they have to graduate high school with all these people who know they're openly mutants and are just treating them completely different.
Yeah, segregated, basically.
Yeah, dude, it sucks. And fucking Kurt, dude, I know he's our boy, but what a little shit, dude, because no one knows that, because he's got like this little image adducer, so like no one knows that he's the blue furry one hopping around on screen. So he keeps hiding, and then when they're all getting like bullied and shit, he just kind of slinks away, and then people are like, hey dude, aren't those your friends? And he's like, oh, math class.
Yeah, nah, he should definitely get in there, definitely, and save his own fucking friends.
Yeah, but like just the fact that the minute these people knew who it was, like all of a sudden you start seeing it, like Jean, who's been a star, like just whatever sport she plays, soccer or basketball, and she's still just as good. And we know that she's not using her powers, but the minute she makes a hoop, these people are like, nah, dude, you used your powers, fuck you. And she's like, no, I didn't. And then you got the principal who's being a dick. He's like, I want all your medals back. I don't trust
all
you.
The trophies gone. Just any team that you were part of, we are giving back the trophies.
And they're treated so bad up until graduation, and then you think it's going to get better, and it just gets so much worse for them. we should say in the background of what was happening in season 3, there was this guy who was kind of doing stuff in the shadows, getting things ready for Apocalypse. And at the end of season 3, it's really like they're trying to stop Apocalypse, but it doesn't work. Spoilers. That's what the show is. But it doesn't work because, further the plot. And so season 4 focuses on the aftermath of the X-Men's failed attempt to prevent Apocalypse's revival. The Brotherhood try their hand at heroism for a little bit, faking their own heroic duties, causing all the accidents that they're saving people from, which is very close to the comics. They do that shit in the comics. Wolverine and X-23 work together to bring down Hydra. We'll go into her in a second, I promise. Xavier confronts his estranged son David, and Spike and the Morlocks begin fighting back against human prejudice. And it's pretty bad in those episodes. Also, Shadowcat befriends Danielle Moonstar and adds her to the new recruits, and Apocalypse gathers his 4 horsemen. But I do not want to spoil who the horsemen are. I know I spoil a lot on the show, but I just want to leave that for you guys to go and find as listeners.
Yes, it is definitely worth it when you get down to it. It's season 4 is a very good story from start to finish.
It's not who you'd think it would be. But now, I guess, why don't we rate the show? So, Shawn, on a letter scale from F to A+, what would you rate this show?
With full nostalgia glasses on, I will rate this an A+.
With full steam ahead, it's an A+, baby.
Yo,
I think I love it. I'm gonna give it an A, a solid A. I'm very impressed with it. I love the show.
You nitpick too much, man.
I you know what I mean? It's like X-Men 97, I would say, is an A+. And I'm ballsy enough to say that. I promise you. I promise you. And you write it down. If you guys are mad at me, I'm going to give you a fake email in a second. You go type of way. But like Batman the Animated Series was an A+ series to me. To give me this, I loved it, but I grew up more with the original series first than this one. And I love things about both. I'm going to give this one I'm going to give it an A. And I will put it this way. With the original X-Men the Animated Series, the series got worse as the show went on. When with this show, it got way better every new season.
I mean, that's pretty rare for a show to
And if you ask me, I would probably give the original X-Men the Animated Series an A.
That's fair. That is fair. I will give it that.
You know what
too.
I mean? If looking back at the animation difference and stuff like that, I'd give that an A too. So I'm giving it on point with what I think, like what the peak was. 97's great, but that's just because of all the new technology and the shit they can do to ramp up. It's almost like an anime. When it comes to these fight sequences, they're beautifully drawn. It's everything you would have wanted as a 10-year-old kid.
Exactly.
Yeah. So with that, A+ and A, that's on an average. I think it's a fucking great cartoon.
Yes, definitely worth a watch. 100%.
So let's start off with some recommendations, shall we?
So basically, I would even just say starting in season 1, basically the season finale for that. We basically get, Scott Summers' brother coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Alex, is it really you?
Scott? Scott! Oh! Man, it's like you came back from the dead. I've had dreams just like this.
Oh, me too. Oh, wow. Man, this one's real, though. And look at you. What happened to that scrawny little kid I used to pick on?
Oh, hey, that reminds me. I owed you that for 10 years.
And you still hit like a girl.
Believe me, bro, there's more to this punch than you know. I still can't believe it. When Magneto told me you were showing up,
Whoa, wait, Magneto?
Being lost from Hawaii, we have Magneto coming in, trying to build.
So much. So it's a two-parter, guys. It's episode 12 and 13 of season 1. The Cauldron, part 1 and 2. This is great. Part 1, Scott is reunited with his younger brother, Alex, like we had said, who is recruited by Magneto to join as the X-Men are forced to fight the Brotherhood for a place in Magneto's sanctuary. And this is the first appearance of Havoc, and it's just cool because, like, all the kids wanted to do was go on this beach trip. They all get in the Jeep. I still remember this scene. As they're driving to the beach, the Brotherhood gang just, like, jumps them. And all of a sudden, each X-Men is facing off against a different Brotherhood member. That person gets basically kidnapped by this big metal ball that just like tentacles come out and just grab you. So Jean ends up kicking Toad's ass. But I'm trying to remember. I think Wolverine had to fight Sabretooth.
Yep.
Kitty had to fight Blob.
Yep.
Toad fought a few people, right? Didn't he fight?
Toad fought Jean.
And was it Rogue?
Yep.
I don't know that crummy Magneto nothing no more. That's for sure.
Who?
Magneto. One major mega mutant. He's screening out the best from the worst, and we lost. Guess what that makes us? Losers.
What happens to the winners?
So, you know, each person has to fight each other, and then they're kidnapped, essentially. In part 2, Magneto holds multiple battles to find out which mutants are worthy, so continuing on what we were just saying, and then he drags them up to his asteroid M base. The winners are abducted by force and offered a place in the cauldron where Magneto offers to greatly strengthen and increase their mutant abilities to their full and maximum potential, despite Professor X telling them that it will alter their mind and body, essentially making them way more angry and a little like out of control. Now, Sabretooth goes through the transformation. Mystique goes through the transformation. And Scott and Alex both go through. And you remember they come out and Scott can take his glasses off.
Yep.
He's got full. He doesn't need them. He's good, but his hair is completely white. Both of them look like they've aged at least 10 to 15 years.
Started looking like Magneto.
Yeah, literally. They all had gray hair for some reason. It was wild. And so like for them to have to figure out how do we snap Scott out of it? How do we how do they work around this and how they win that is great. Okay, so I do quickly want to do an honorable mention for season 1, and that's going to be episode 9, Survival of the Fittest. The X-Men and the Brotherhood battle each other in a summer camp, but must cooperate when a large and unstoppable mutant named Cain Marko, aka the Juggernaut, threatens both Charles Xavier and Mystique. This is the first appearance of the Juggernaut, and they do change it a little bit because he's not actually a mutant in the comic books. He has a magic crystal that gives him all his powers. But watching the X-Men and the Brotherhood of Evil team up together to fight the Juggernaut and rip his helmet off so that they can get to him mentally is just cool. Watching the Blob fight him while Nightcrawler's popping all over his head, trying to flip the things, Wolverine's jumping at him, just watching them all dogpile the Juggernaut, who's just a fucking beast. The fact that he could take 2 teams on at once is wild.
Absolutely. He just grabs Nightcrawler and just tosses him.
Yeah,
ragdoll.
hops him.
Kane's helmet. Remove it. Unstoppable. Meet the unmovable.
All right, so why don't we go into season 2? And Shawn, I'm going to let you talk about these 2 for a little bit because I know you got 2 of them.
So basically, I thought this one was pretty fun. Basically, it's in season 2, episode 4, and it's titled Fun and Games. Basically, they trick the professor to going out.
Ironically, they trick him with the Juggernaut.
Yeah,
because they fake like that his stasis cell is going down and that they need him to come back just in case he wakes up.
Yeah, so the professor's gone for at least a couple days, and then they managed to trick Jean and Scott, and then basically hotwire in their car to kind of break down up on a mountain. So the kids in the house basically decide to throw a party. But it wasn't just the people in the house. They decided to invite normal people, basically, from high school. So at the time, Rogue had a friend, and then she brought a friend, which turned out to be basically a hacker, kind of.
Yeah, he's like in school he is a hacker, but he's like a super video game like ultimate nerd. He just wants the next best video game. All he cares about is playing video games and beating them, getting high scores and shit. So when he comes to the party and then accidentally discovers Cerebro, that's where like shit pops off, because he puts that on and he becomes in charge of the house, but he thinks it's all a video game. So anyone that's in the danger room and shit like that, all of a sudden it's because he's trying to kill you at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like I said, I thought it was pretty cool because basically...
Oh, good episode. Because you know what? You find out in this one that Rogue's friend there, the other goth girl, is actually Mystique, and she's been
spoilers. Man.
Oh,
you literally just go right into it,
Nick
man.
Spoils Scola. I'm picking choosing. The only thing I don't want to ruin is the last the 4 horsemen.
Okay,
I want to leave
fine.
that. Everything else I'm putting up on the table.
I know, but I was trying to lead that up to that part, and the next thing you know, boom, just steals my thunder right there.
Might be.
It's all good. But yeah, so basically what it was is that Mystique led this kid down there, basically had him hack into Cerebro, basically have him make him think that all the X-Men were video game characters.
You got me, because I forgot that Mystique even let him down there. I thought he like stumbled across it, but you're right, dude. She was down there, was like, wow, this is like, aren't you good at video games? And she's like, good at video games? I'm the fucking best, dude.
It worked!
Suppose they have any games on there?
Oh, I hope so.
Who are those people?
I don't know. Game characters, maybe?
Cool. I could sure use those in my computer class assignment. Can you download that file?
No problem. I'll burn you a DVD.
And then that's where he got into that. I didn't even think about that, dude.
Really?
Yeah. No, I forgot that she was even down there with him.
So that's what the whole spoiler now basically, but basically the whole thing at season 2 is
spoils the Scola. Back at it again.
Mystique is Rogue's friend and basically gets all the info on the X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
But and then it just turns out basically he thought it was all basically literally just fun and games.
Yep.
He came. Professor Charles came back and was just basically telepath to everyone like, hey, he just thinks this is a video game, and he's like, just let him go on his way.
Yep. He doesn't know any better, you know what I mean? Because everyone was pissed when they found him. They were like, who the fuck are you?
and what does he say? He says, my name is Arcade.
Yeah.
Yep.
You don't give a shit, dude.
Oh, DEFCON 4 definitely opened this game up. Let's see you get out of Arcade's corridor.
The comic book character is crazy too.
Yeah, he's a pretty good character. That's what I love about the X-Men, though. The X-Men got some pretty creative super villains and everything like that.
I wish they did a Mojo episode, honestly. I feel like X-Men Evolution could have done a real good interpretation of that. That's basically the guy out in space who like makes TV shows and stuff, and then
something with Nightcrawler.
Bring them
like
in and then make his own like TV show would have been cool. They actually just did it in X-Men 97. They brought Mojo back.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah.
I definitely have to watch X-Men.
Dude,
97.
I'm telling you, listeners, and go check it out. All right, go into another one.
All right, so actually, believe it or not, it just leads right up into the next episode that I wanted to talk about.
Oh, another good one.
So it introduces a brand new character, Mr. Hank McCoy.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, the whole premise is that Hank is the gym teacher. And
so he's actually been introduced before, but that was it. He was just the gym teacher. Like, there was no significance. He kind of had like a close relationship with the students, but there wasn't like anything special about him.
But so basically his nickname is the Beast, and basically this whole episode is that the Beast inside of him is taken over. So it's kind of cool to see him lose control, kind of like a Jackal Hyde kind of type deal. And Spike, who is actually a basketball player for Hank McCoy, is basically really close to him, and he finds him losing control and slowly turning him into the beast.
This isn't you, Teach. Don't do this. You gotta fight this thing.
Where it ends up in one big fight, and he ends up winning over the beast thanks to the help of Spike
and Professor X
and Professor X
Once
and everything.
He gets on the scene. Yeah, no, it's crazy. And now when you look back at it, I'm about to spoil again. I'm fair warning you. But when you look back at it, something happens with Spike's superpowers, and he kind of grows a new mutation where he gets ugly too. So the fact that like he was there for Beast when that happened to him, and then something similar will happen to him later, is kind of cool and almost in like a foreshadowing way.
Yes, correct. Yeah. All right. I'll give you that. That wasn't too bad.
No. Because it's not like he goes like a super. He just kind of gets like an armor.
Yep. We'll go with that.
Okay, so next, ironically enough, another Juggernaut episode. He's so badass every episode he gets in.
Yeah,
you know what
no,
I mean?
he
Because
really
you're really
is.
worried. You don't know how they're going to stop him. This one is episode 2 of season 3. It's called The Stuff of Heroes. While Storm and Beast step in front of the Senate to try curbing the rampant anti-mutant crowd, the rest of the X-Men have to stop Juggernaut, who has been unleashed by Mystique and is threatening to destroy a dam. And this one you really, it's like, you know, the team's first time going back to, you know, they're going back to school, and not back to school, but like the rest of the world knows who they are, and they're preparing to go back to school. And already people are treating them differently because now it's out in the open that they are mutants. And like just this particular episode, I wanted to pick this, and even episode 3 to mainstreams of season 3. I feel like these 2 episodes really just highlight the difference in a tone. The difference in tone in the series, and the difference in the way that all these side characters that have always been on the show now just treat these. There's some that still treat them good, and there's some that were good to them that don't treat them good anymore.
Yeah, the power struggle between everybody is, a lot of conflict going on. Basically, it breaks down really to like a power struggle. So basically, they're voting for the kids if they can return full time back to school. And of course, the Brotherhood are gonna be up to no good during all this.
Oh yeah, and fuck all that shit up just to, you know what I mean, just to sway people's opinions and stuff. And so that's in the 3rd episode, mainstreams. And the second one, what we like is like, you really like the army's hunting the X-Men, like the whole team. And Wolverine just wants to fuck the army up. And this is like, you know, Cyclops steps up and he's like, no, we don't know where the professor is right now, but I know what the professor would want us to do. And there's a certain way to handle this. And so they go off and they escape, but like they're literally hunted by the US military.
Let me get this straight. You're defying me.
Any one of us could smack down those choppers, but we're supposed to be heroes, not thugs.
If they're after us, then they're the enemy.
No, but they think we are. The last thing we need to do right now is prove them right.
Well, what else are you gonna do? Run?
Yeah. If the professor were here, that's what he'd have us do.
And then have to go and do their own thing. And then that's when they finally, once they stop the Juggernaut, they get a pardon from the president, who's like, don't hunt these guys down. They're humans. You know what I mean? They're beings too. They have feelings. We're not going to prosecute them right now. So the president's saying it's okay, but the rest of the world is not ready.
Yo.
And so that's where the 3rd episode happens. And I will call these 2 kind of an unofficial, like, 2-parter.
Yeah, because it just really does like lead right
right into each other, where usually these episodes kind of do their own thing up until the season finale, where those are the two-parters. But this one kind of went right into the next one. So in mainstream, like we were saying, now they got to go back to school. Kurt's being a little shit because he's trying to hide the fact that he can still look like a human and everyone else is getting picked on. Duncan's ripping Cyclops' sunglasses off just to be like, I wish you would use your powers so we can get you kicked out of here. The fucking principal, Kelly, is being a douchebag and setting shit up all behind secret doors, leading up to him becoming Senator Kelly.
Again, right there, just keep on spoiling.
Oh, no, that's in the fucking, that's in the movies and the comics. Yeah. But yeah, no, they do. They kind of like envision that, like, you know, he really despises mutants and he's going to bring that all the way up to the top.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it's because these guys were just causing him so much shit throughout the high school years.
Yeah, he knows it too. So at the point, he even goes right to the brother's house and offers them to come back to school personally themselves.
Yeah, why do you think that is? You fucking, well, like, what a little bitch, dude. I fucking Senator Kelly and this Principal Kelly, whatever.
All I'm saying is you can't have a beef with just one of them because they stick together. I'm just concerned for your safety. Oh, look. More mutants. Interesting thing about those boys there. You actually have something in common with them. They also hate Scott Summers.
So next, we have season 3, episode 11. This is a very important episode because back in the day with our series, there was few characters that came out with these that were so popular and so good that they got brought into the mainstream. They got brought into the comic books. This is the case with episode 11 of season 3, X-23. A mysterious female assassin terrorizes the X mansion, knocking out the X-Men one by one. Wolverine finds out that it is his clone, which was created by Dr. Deborah Risman and raised without love by Hydra. And she wants to kill him because she holds him responsible for her miserable life. X-23 wants to kill Wolverine. Wolverine and X-23, as she is called, square off in a battle that Wolverine does not want to win. And this is crazy because anyone that's seen the movie Logan knows that this is who this character was so popular, brought into the comic books. Boom. That's the whole plot of Logan. They like spliced it into the old man Logan story, but that he has a clone named X-23 who's a girl named Laura. It's just cool that like she was so cool, so popular. And they created it because they really, the creators, what I was reading was that they wanted the show to be about the kids and less about Wolverine, but they still wanted him to feel like, you know, needed and important and have stories. But, you know, they can't really use him that much because he's Wolverine. He's the best there is at what he does. He can't do that on a kid's show.
Oh, absolutely.
So they wanted to bring in like the teen version of him and see how that went.
This girl kicked ass too. She just took it and
took out the entire X-Men.
just like it was nothing.
Yeah. Badass, dude. And I'll play this clip too that we were laughing at because Berserker even looks and he goes Wolverine goes, she took us all out. Not even you can do that.
Wolverine gets a little pissy at that comment.
He growls like
This is impossible. The Professor, Storm, Bobby, not even you could take us all out.
Okay, and just one last episode I want to recommend real quick is Season 4, Episode 5, Uprising. Spike makes his return, having turned into an angry vigilante who protects the Morlocks. He is unafraid to go in public with his disfigured mutation, causing panic in his environment, especially since the extreme prejudice against mutants is on the rise. Anti-mutinist Duncan Matthews, who has been a big part of this series so far as like the other person that Jean like was kind of into, but not, she was like Jean's like human boyfriend, and Cyclops, it was like a little 3-way triangle, but he's a douche. and he's been causing problems throughout, as we were saying.
Yep. Once he finds out about mutants, he's all anti-mutant.
And once they're all out in the open, he doesn't. And Gene buffs him. He's like, "All right, fuck you, fuck mutants. I hate you all." And him and his friends go and hunt Spike down.
I saw that, freak. Damaging public property.
It was an accident. I'm gonna pay for it.
Yeah, you will. Right now.
Hey, accidents happen. Like, if I accidentally drop this, it would accidentally burn a hole right through your car.
Get away from there, or I'll show you how accidents can go both ways.
Sam, Amara, get home.
But...
Go!
As for you, threatening little girls, you're lucky I just damaged your car.
Yeah, and you think you're gonna get away with messing up my ride?
Well, I guess the question is, what are you gonna do about it? Go ahead, make your call, spread the word. Tell them the mutants of Bayville are off limits to hate crime, as of now.
Also, in a foreshadow towards the eventual fight against Apocalypse, Nick Fury of S.H.I.E.L.D. releases Bolivar Trask and orders him to build a new, improved Sentinel. This is the first appearance of Leech. Leech's power is famously, he was portrayed in X-Men The Last Stand. He's the one who shuts powers off that are within a certain reach of him. So, they shut off Spike's power for a little bit, and he was able to look like a normal kid again, the normal. And then that got shut off, and then Spike got reminded that no, he can't have that life. He knows he's welcomed at the Xavier Institute, but the Morlocks just need him more.
Yeah, absolutely. The Morlocks just don't have that.
They need a defender.
Yeah, they don't have that type of power, unfortunately.
No. But great episode, just really cool. And you feel you feel bad that Spike can't be with the rest of them, but you respect why he's doing it. And that's a big plot point for Storm, and why she ultimately lets him go is because she sees that they do. They need him. And that was just cool. Cool. Great story writing. Like we were saying, once you look at the list of all these other shows they've written for, you're like, it makes sense why these story plot lines were fucking bangers, dude.
Like I said, we could possibly go through almost every single
I could literally go through each episode, but I
think we were arguing about an hour to figure out what episodes.
And so obviously I would say check out all the season finales, all the 2-part season finales to each season, because those are really, really, really good, especially the series finale of season 4. Those two are just great. Now, like I said, I don't want to give too much. I know I spoil here because I like to, and it's my show. But I do want to leave who the Force. I think that's kind of cool for you to guess who you think the 4 horsemen are going to be. At that point, we have one little last aspect, one little more segment to the show that I'm calling, and did you also know? And Shawn, why don't you pull up a little fun trivia fact?
So in the original comics and also the original X-Men, Nightcrawler is pretty big into religion, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But he, in this version, he does not bring up religion or to be Catholic at all.
Yeah, not even slightly. He doesn't wear a cross or nothing. And it's probably because it was aimed at the younger kids, and they wanted to... Even when you look at, Scarlet Witch, she doesn't have anything like that. She's got, the...
satanic or anything
Yeah,
like that.
she more has, this Egyptian-looking, symbols on her.
Hex girl kind of type vibes.
Oh, the Hex girl. I'll go with the next fact. And did you also know in the original comics, the 5 founding X-Men were shown as teenagers, similar to how the show portrayed most of the X-Men as teenagers. While Cyclops, Iceman, and Jean Grey are shown as teenagers in the show, Angel and Beast were the only 2 that were shown as adults.
So the writers of the show have admitted that they were actually big Buffy fans, using Shadowcat as the catalyst for the 2 shows. Buffy and Evolution are uncannily similar.
Mm-hmm.
A teenage girl with superpower fights bad guys at high school while she attends their different classes. Buffy and Shadowcat have oppositions against her with first the school principal and then both the city mayor. Coincidentally, Josh Whedon, the creator of all things Buffy, admits that he was a huge X-Men fan and based the character Buffy on Shadowcat, even giving her the surname Shadowcat's team leader Summers.
Yeah, so Buffy Summers is named after Kitty. Like, it's just cool that, like, they had the, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. The little
yeah.
little
No. Summers is based off of Cyclops. What am I saying? But no, the fact that what I meant to say was the fact that Buffy is based after Kitty. And the fun thing is that me and Kelsey are currently watching the first season of Buffy right now.
Oh.
And so I actually, like, get a fresh look at, like, it makes sense. I see it now. The like the whole Buffy vibe and tude is very Kitty in this. It's cool. It's a cool little thing. I'm gonna say for the next fun fact, according to producer, writer, director Boyd Kirtland, the Acolytes provided new, bigger challenges for the heroes to face. The theme of the series was growth, beginning with these guys first discovering their powers and then learning how to use them, while still trying to get along with the normal world. According to Kirkland, by season 3, they knew they had to up the stakes. The Brotherhood hadn't really developed into a kind of team Magneto wanted, so he recruited Gambit, Colossus, and Pyro. The first 2 were very popular X-Men characters in the comics, and Kirkland and co. wanted them in the series, but we already had many more heroes than we did villains. So the writers and producers thought it would be fun and more surprising to break with convention and introduce Gambit and Colossus as bad guys. However, these 2 would be conflicted about what they were doing and would eventually join the X-Men. According to Kirkland, this was one of the stories that never got to be told. At the very end, you see Colossus join the final team, but Gambit, I don't think Gambit helps them in the final battle. But that's because there's an episode before that, and you find out what happens to him.
So Colossus was always a great character. I just absolutely.
Oh, and he looked cool in this series, In
the first episode, all the main X-Men, with the exception of Nightcrawler, appeared in the original X-Men film. The adult X-Men in the film consist of Professor X, Wolverine, Storm, Cyclops, and Jean Grey. In the very first episode, those 5 are already residents in the Institute, with Nightcrawler joining them as the newcomer. Interestingly, all the villains in the first X-Men are represented by episode 2. In the films, Magneto, Mystique, Toad, and Sabretooth make up the Brotherhood. Magneto, Mystique, and Toad appear in the first episode, and Sabretooth makes his appearance in episode 2. So can I just say real quick, I am so happy that they managed to keep Toad in this series.
Oh, dude, they do such a good job with Toad. They really do. I really enjoy, like, at first he's like that little shit, right? That's just always in the hall. He's just a little annoying prick. And then, like, you really start to like him, He's fucking hilarious.
He's
honestly.
in the pilot stealing wallets and everything like that.
Yep. Another fun fact, Wolverine's attire from the later seasons is based on the costume he wore in the Ultimate X-Men comics, since unlike the mainstream universe, Wolverine never wore a mask in that version. Also, according to producer, writer, director Boyd Kirkland, their hands were always tied with Wolverine because of the violent aspect of his power and nature, and because he was an adult. The network wanted all the stories to mainly focus on the kids.
So one of the episodes featured the original 5 X-Men from the Stan Lee and Jack Kirby days. Cyclops, Jean Grey, Beast, Angel, and Iceman working together. Boyd Kirkland, producer, writer, and director, has been a fan of the Kirby era of X-Men and thought it would be cool to pay a tribute to that. Having Iceman among the new recruits and already having him introduced Angel into the series gave them the opportunity. Are not only the original 5 X-Men in the comic book series, these 5 characters are also the original 5 members of another mutant team that in the comics called the X Factor. The character of Apocalypse, whom this team X-Men is trying to stop from being unleashed, first appeared in the X Factor comic series.
Yeah, so that's pretty fucking cool.
So actually, I'm not gonna lie, I did not know that.
That Apocalypse came from X Factor?
Yeah, no, I did not.
Yeah, it was basically like the original 5 like quit the X-Men, and they went and formed a new team called X Factor. And what they would do is they were posing as mutant hunters. Like people could pay them to go hunt down mutants. And what they were doing instead was saving the mutants and bringing them back to like Professor X and shit like that.
Oh, okay.
And like helping the mutants get away. But to the world, it looked like they were professional mutant hunters. And so the world loved them because they were getting rid of a menace.
Okay. All right. That's pretty cool, actually.
But what was funny is that the Brotherhood in the comics was a group of, so that's a superhero group pretending to be supervillains, but the Brotherhood was a group of supervillains pretending to be superheroes. And it's cool because they kind of do that in the episode in here too, where they had that whole episode around where the Brotherhood was causing all the accidents and then going and rescuing people themselves.
Yep, to try to get the propaganda.
Right. So like you could tell that these guys were fans of the comics, and that's what I love. I love when you just know that these guys grew up as fans, you know, and it shows in their work. With that being said, I think we did a great job, dude. A plus.
Yep.
Thank you for coming on the show again, bro. I always have so much fun with these. We're going to have to pick another series to do soon. I can't wait to have you back. And everyone can find us on the Flashback Cartoon Hour on all podcast platforms. Yeah, I'm talking Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Spotify. And if you want to come and actually talk to us, we're bumping on Facebook. So come on through, guys. Come check us out. All right. Other than that, remember the 3 golden rules: fight pollution, save the planet, and as always, motherfucking be good to yourself.
Thanks to you all, we have averted catastrophe. It was not without its price, however. But steel is forged through fire, and like it, we have been made stronger. We are prepared for what the future brings. I know this because I have glimpsed it in the mind of Apocalypse. Many challenges still await us, but I saw some who have been our enemies become friends. And with a heavy heart, I saw the dearest of friends become the most terrible of enemies. I saw my X-Men grow and change. And of course, I saw that some people never change. But one thing was clear, that no matter what awaits us, terrible or wondrous, the X-Men will always be there ready. And of that, I am proud.